So you'd like to know more about project management, huh? I'm Holly Ahrens, and I'm the Clinical Program Manager at HealthPoint, and we are South Dakota's Regional Extension Center. Project management is a well-established approach to managing and controlling the introduction of new initiatives or organizational changes. Projects are usually finite in length, usually are one-time pieces of work involving a number of activities that must be completed within a given time frame. They're often on a fixed budget. While the very simplest of projects usually are managed by common sense, projects that are more complex need a great deal of planning, and they benefit from a very formal, disciplined approach to the plan. Today we're going to review 4 key stages of a project and the details of those stages, and provide you with some of the skills that are needed by project managers to successfully manage and control projects. Now, managing a project means managing the project fully. That means the team, the time, the resources, the budget, and according to all the specifications that are in the plan. To do this effectively, there's 4 key stages to any project. That's initiating, planning, building and execution, and closing. But first, let's talk about identifying a project manager. These people need to have skills of communication, leadership, and negotiation. Now, in large organizations, there may be an identified project manager for the entire organization, regardless of the project type. But in smaller organizations, it usually defaults to someone that has leadership qualities within the organization. So let's look at some of the characteristics that you'll want in the people that you choose as project managers. We'll put it in somewhat of a top 10 list for you. The first characteristic that you would look for is someone who is able to inspire a shared vision. As the vision for a project is handed down from leadership, the person that you choose as a project manager should fully understand and also be inspired by the project. They should be able to communicate that to the persons within the organization and also within the project team. To do that, they must be a good communicator. They are going to be communicating to several different people within the organization and probably external customers as well. Integrity. Now, most project managers are not able to pick and choose which projects they are going to be working on, but they are ensured that all projects align with the organization's missions and values. Enthusiasm. One of the challenges that project managers has is the fact that the team usually has regular jobs to do on top of the assigned work of the project. So being enthusiastic and be able to assign work with enthusiasm is a great benefit. But they also must be empathetic. They must understand that the changes that are going to occur within the organization and the work that the project team is doing does affect people. They must be competent. They must understand the concepts of project management, planning, controlling, and organizing a project. They must have the ability to delegate, not only their own day-to-day requirements, but also the responsibilities of the project tasks, the resource utilization, and ID the team's skills and how to use them appropriately. They must be cool under pressure. Projects always have stakeholders, and stakeholders have their own agendas, and sometimes you'll have projects that become heated by changes that affect people, so you must maintain your decorum. Team building skills is essential. You'll probably be bringing people together that either have not worked together before or they may not know each other. So being able to quickly build a team is essential. And the last is problem-solving skills. Projects occur in ever-changing organizations, and problems always arise when changes occur. So let's look at the key stages of the project. Those were initiating, planning, building and execution, and closing. So in initiation, usually leadership will be handing down a project charter or an outline to the project manager. and ensuring that you're getting leadership support is critical for the project. So this initiating phase will lay the groundwork for the rest of the project. One of the most important steps in defining this stage is identifying what the expected goals, outcomes, or deliverables are from the leadership. So when you do receive that final sign-off of the project charter, you are going to start appointing the team, and this identifies the planning stage. Project planning is critical to project success in all but the smallest projects. Effective planning involves clarifying what that scope of the project is, specifying in detail who are the resources, what those resources are, how that we are going to be required to deliver those resources, and then the end result of all of this planning is a project plan. This involves planning all of the activities that are necessary down to the finite details to accomplish the objectives, which includes scheduling, specifying who's going to work on each activity, the budgets that's needed for each activity, risks of each activity, and the management of those risks, communications plan, and also quality planning. So in identifying the activities, the first part is scheduling. So you're going to have to do a work breakdown, and that's where you've identified the skills of the project team and you identify what work they're going to be able to accomplish. It's very specific and clear on the things that have to be done and the sequence of those things. Next would be the resources of those scheduling, and this is where your project plan would be utilized, and you would use a Gantt chart, and this is an example of a Gantt chart where you've got a detail of all of the project activities and steps. So although that was a snapshot of a project plan, this is one in its entirety, and you'll see that there's the bolded areas are the phases. So we've got initial assessment. This is an EHR implementation plan. So there's subtasks within tasks, there are subtasks, and you can see where on the Gantt chart we've identified the timelines for those to be accomplished and those that are dependent on the other tasks. And you'll see that as we go down, we'll see that it's quite enormous in terms of the number of tasks that are needed for an EHR implementation and the time frame also. So in using a project plan, you must do risk assessment and management. So project managers need to identify, analyze, and respond to risks associated with the project. Within your project plan on each one of those tasks, you are able to identify any risks. You are able to weight them, whether it's high, medium, or low risk, and what is the response to that risk. The goal here is really to reduce the likelihood of risks that are occurring, minimize their impact, and have a plan on how you respond if that risk actually does occur. Next part of your plan is your communications plan. Now, it's essential that all of your stakeholders that are involved in your project are kept appropriately informed about what's going on. Each stakeholder has their own message that needs to be given, time of that message, the detail of that message. Now, the way that you build a good communication plan is that you do stakeholder analysis. Stakeholder analysis, and when you utilize a tool such as the power and interest grid that you see on the screen, this is a great way to identify who your stakeholders are, what power they have within the project and their influence, and you can rate them, which helps you identify how often they need to have communications, what type of communications they need, what format they need that type of communication. This is really essential to ensure that you continue to have buy-in within the organization and that people remain informed about the project. The next stage in your project is the building and execution stage. During this phase, the project manager must apply leadership, team management, communications, and negotiation skills. The real focus here is get going, do some action, do the work of the project according to the specification, and follow the project schedule. Next part of this stage is the monitoring. Monitoring and analyzing progress against the plan, identifying when the project is off track, and taking action as required. Now, while team members are included in the reporting process, the project manager really is the one who collates the information, summarizes it, and then executes the communication plan. So let's look at some of the reports that you will be doing during this phase. Project milestone reports. Using this type of report really helps major milestones to be identified and ensure that key target points are met. Also, project dashboards. This type of report allows quick and easy communication of the status of various elements of a project. Usually you have some type of color coding system, red, yellow, green, smiley faces, frowny faces, something that identifies whether the activity is on target. This type of report or dashboard is used when giving information to the leadership or the steering committee. Change request procedures. Now, as projects are implemented, we all know that things change within the organization, and even the best laid plans sometimes have changes or bumps in the road. So whether those changes are small or large, you must be able to have a change request procedure. Other elements in the build phase include quality control, training staff, testing the changes, execution of the project deliverables, and planning how to change from the project mode to the business as usual mode. Now, next phase that we have is closing the project, and really that's all. In the final phase of this project, the results of the project really have to be verified and accepted by the steering or leadership committee. This is where the project really is moved to the operations side of the organization, and it basically goes live. The purpose of formally closing is to ensure that the objectives are actually met and they are sustainable. And by formally closing the project manager has the opportunity to document what was learned, what were the best practices, and what should we not do again. So really the key tasks in closing are ensure that your final acceptance of the project by the leadership team, archive the project plans for future use, and then do a performance review and evaluation, but most importantly, celebrate. Well, you've had a snapshot of project management. The presentation was brought to you by HealthPoint at Dakota State University, South Dakota's Regional Extension Center. To find out more, visit us at healthpoint.dsu.edu. Contact us at 605-256-5555.